take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. We're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the Zoo, and here we are. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like every week. And just like every week, it continues to get worse. It feels like a trap. It feels stupid. Oh, there's a lot of stupid. It feels like we're being played. It really does. All right, so let's kick this show off. I've got a terrific bottle of Glenfiddich 18. I had to take another one and combine them so I can kind of clean out the old liquor cabinet. Anyways, we're ready to go. If you've got a super chat donation, $50 or more, that buys a scotch. Pow! Just like that. And that's how we start off the show. This week, Darcy T steps in, and Chin Music will be right behind her. Here's the shot glass. Here be the scotch. Into the glass it goes. And I'm going to tell you what Darcy has to say. And we can think about it. It has been one heck of a year. And it's just begun. It's just begun. January is down the hatch as we head towards election. Thank you, Darcy T. Semper Fi. Keep fighting. Ooh. Like mother's milk. Woo! All right, we're firing it up. She says, good evening, John. I feel like we are being played at the border. Someone wants civil war. Perhaps to put UN troops on U.S. soil? Thoughts? Well, I really like how Darcy T does that. She'll make some statements, has an idea, then says, hey, what are your thoughts? And that's all I can do here is give you my thoughts. And you guys can accept them. You can disregard them. You can blend them. You can take pieces you like, throw away the rest. Kind of like a salad bar. You don't have to take everything. It's a salad bar. Anyways, we've got a lot to break down here on the border. This weekend, President Biden, Gigi Biden, continues to pretend like he doesn't have authority. He continues to pretend like it's not his responsibility. But he continues to threaten Governor Abbott, Texas, border states, and the American people. He continues to try and bribe everyone. Well, just give me the money I want to go fight more war in Ukraine. And I'll do what I can for you. I promise. I have never heard of an administration and a government so incompetent, so foolhardy as this. Perhaps that is the plan, Darcy. Perhaps. Perhaps that's the plan. Oh, Jolene, take a peek out. Take a look out. Chin Music's got a question coming in if he hasn't sent it already. Now, perhaps that is what Biden is doing, is pretending the United States is powerless at the border. No responsibility, no authority, no idea what to do. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is a case that only the United Nations can send. Doesn't that sound like what they're saying? We're that helpless. We're that stupid. We don't know what we're doing. This is the first time this has ever been a problem. The idea of protecting a border. It is unbelievable, but folks, they are that stupid. And I'm not kidding. The leftists are that stupid that they'll believe anything they're told as long as they're told to believe it. Civil war? Well, if they put UN troops on U.S. soil to guard the U.S. border, what do you think those troops are going to do? Take a wild guess, and I'm not talking about the Jim Jones juice, not this time. Take a wild guess what would happen if UN troops were on our border. Well, they would administrate and facilitate a very smooth entry process. Smooth entry process. with United Nations immigration and refugee camps and systems set up, just like they do in other countries, where they systematically remove people's wealth and also rape them. Oh, yeah, we would have some serious, serious problems, folks, having UN troops on our border. Yeah, they would really take a good care of us. I don't think so. But it seems like that's what they want. They're pretending like, whoa, we're Washington, D.C. We don't have any authority. But anytime Biden and the Democrats, meaning Obama and the World Economic Forum, they need something, Biden cancels drilling. He cancels drilling in Alaska, cancels drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, cancels offshore drilling, cancels inland drilling, exploration. Day one, Biden killed the Keystone Pipeline. We're talking decades of planning, billions of dollars invested, and get rid of that. We wouldn't dare want the United States to work with its neighbor to the north, Canada, to secure an energy system that is protected from attack and guarantees both America and Canada what they need. Unfucking believable. Now, thank you, Darcy T, for that wonderful send off into this episode of The Zoo on the Prepared Mind channel. Let me remind everyone again, a $50 super chat or more buys a scotch. And now, folks, all right. I got you, Jolene. We are set. Let's do this. Chin Music has a $55.56 super chat donation. And I really do like starting the show off with a couple of shots of high quality 18-year Glenfiddich Scotch to kind of get the tongue loosened up, kind of get the blood flowing, kind of let the anger come out. There we are. Let me cork that bad boy up. Keep those spirits alive. Thanks to you, Mr. Chin Music, Semper Fi. Be sure and get me a picture of that shirt we were talking about. Ooh. Smooth. Thank you, sir. Now, Jolene says she's got your question, comment, thought, idea. Let's get it up on the board. Sent that through to Venmo. And it says, Taylor Hansen from Tenet Media was on with Tim Pool discussing the same migrant center is SA that I sent you pics and video from. What I didn't know was how the SAPD ran me off and threatened to arrest me. The San Antonio Police Department. They did the same to him. But they came after Taylor because he asked the cops who's paying to be here. What he found out was pretty startling. Some are being paid by non-government organizations while they use their taxpayer-funded uniforms and sidearms. This really pisses me off. This shit is off the hook, bad, and about to get worse. You did, however, hear it here 8 months before they did. That is 100% correct. And Chin Music finishes off with the Prepared Mind family is first again, you bet. Folks, between gathering information and sharing it, prognostications, predictions, seeing where this is going step by step by step by step. It can be Chin Music here, sending us video photos from the border. Now, by the way, Darcy T is also in Texas. The T could stand for Darcy, Texas. She also sees what's going on, sends information in. You guys, it is you. This is the Prepared Mind channel. But it is a network of us working together. Now, Sunday Night Live, we're going out 100% live. You put a comment down below. Well, if you're a subscriber, and other subscribers can you read it. You hit the super chat button or Venmo, PayPal, Cash App down below. And guess what? Right? You get your comments on the screen and we address the topics. Right? We address the topics. Danny, pardon me. And, damned if everyone else on the planet follows us in information. We get it first, the best we can. And it is because we're a tight network that's connected into everything. We get to talk about everything. All right, Chin Music, I just got your email. That's cool. I'll have to check it out when we're not pressed for time as we move through the sludge and crap of SHTF news. Now, okay, thank you very much, Jolene. Behind the scenes, Jolene is taking care of business. She's got the big blue wrench today. All right, now, we actually have a channel potential sponsor. So it is coffeefeed.com and cof-fee-fee.com. We're going to see. I think they're going to send me some. Some samples to try. Coffee is very important, folks. Wake you up, tone you up. Anyways, John, I want to thank you for letting me know about them and that they've got some very, very good, seems like conservative coffee flavors. Right. Once again, we will only accept sponsorship by proud American companies that love America and love our Constitution. So let's dig into the news. If you've got something to say, a thought, a prognostication, a joke, whatever you got, super chat donation up there gets you on the screen. We've taken donations from 99 cents to 556, 762, 1776, 30-06, all the way up to 5556, and folks beyond. $100 and beyond. I think the biggest, what's the biggest one we got, Jolene? I think the biggest one ever was 500. It was crazy. It was fucking crazy. And I think we got one time 1,000 pesos from our friend down south of the border. $500, says Jolene. That was one heck of an eye-opener. Wow. Anyways, let us get back to the important stuff, the information. Being a prepper, being an American, being a patriot, whether you're a veteran or not a veteran, as long as you're American, we have to take information. We have to sift out the stuff we don't believe, sift out the stuff that's bullshit. We had to decide what is a lie, and we're left with information that we can trust. And then we take that information and go, what's it mean? Are things getting better or are things getting worse? Are we going in a good direction or are we going in a bad direction? And then you say, if we keep going in that direction, things will get really bad. Is there evidence that we continue to go in the wrong direction? Is there evidence to see that things are continuing to get worse? If the answer is yes, then you just might want to do something about it. And that's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. Things are getting bad. Things are getting worse. And we keep going in that direction. So I'm going to document it with you, and you guys document it with me. And like I said, oftentimes information comes from you first. And Sunday Night Live is a great time because we got subscribestar.com. We've got the preparedmind.club here, and we've got YouTube, the Prepared Mind here. Everyone's here. This is live. Everyone's invited. It's open to the world. Except, of course, YouTube is hiding us. And if you've got something to say, everything you say, pow, super chat comes up here, and it makes sure that we've got tuna fish, spam, and scotch in the pantry. Now, folks, the people who were at the January 6th protest back in 2021, what did they really do wrong? You know what they did? I think the worst thing they did was to put themselves within the grasp of the federal government. They have planted evidence on Master Sergeant Brown They beat the shit out of people, women and men, and old ladies got pushed down steps. One fellow was thrown off of the congressional balcony to his near death. Luckily, he didn't die from that. They did kill Americans, folks. And then they got to court. Special Agent David Lazarus was testifying against the Oath Keepers, folks. In their trial, guess what? He lied under oath. Even though his, perjury in court was confirmed, folks, lied in court. He walks free. He walks free, and the Oath Keepers got thrown in prison. Well, he's leaving one department of the federal government and going to another agency. Unbelievable. That's his slap on the wrist. Now go to work for another 3-letter federal government bureaucracy. There is going to be no justice in the federal government, folks, ever again. Ever. F them. Ever. The left has lost their minds. They truly have. They've lost their minds. It is up to us to do something about it, folks. It's up to us. Now, Trump, President Trump, he has his Mar-a-Lago estate raided. His wife's panty drawer is raided by a bunch of Revenge of the Nerd, LGB, FB type guys. And those two idea, thoughts, and nocturnal activities are commensurate. FB and being LGB. So, Biden's administrative defense team is concerned because this guy named Robert Hur has put together a report that has embarrassing photos of classified documents in Biden's garage behind his Corvette, not secured. But get this, folks, don't worry about Biden. I don't know why they're concerned at all. They call it embarrassing. I mean, isn't it criminal to have classified records stored in your garage, unsecured, out in the open? They call it an embarrassment. The federal government calls it, when Trump has, declassified documents, they call that a crime. There will be no justice. And I do think there's a chance that the United Nations will have their blue-helmeted assholes in America. Oh, yeah, in America. Before the end of the election season. I'm starting to see that. They want Americans pissed off to have another military force here while our military has been gutted, emasculated, and had their balls cut off so they can fit more comfortably in a pair of fishnet stockings. That is how whacked out the left wing is. What do you want to talk about, folks? Super chat button right up there. It is your show on Sunday night. I'll talk about what I want all night long, but it's up to you guys to direct the show. Isn't that amazing? You can pick the topics, the stories, the thoughts, the concerns, and even a conspiracy theory. Even conspiracy theories are welcome here. I use special code words to make sure, YouTube allows it. Anyways, let's do this. Let's do a super chat. It is now time for you guys, and we're already up to 340 people live. Hit that internet address right up there. Hit that address and share it with friends, share it with family, share it with everyone. Get it out there. Give this video a thumbs up, big thumbs up. And if you're new, make sure you have hit the subscribe button down below. That's all you got to do while we watch the show. But we want 500 people here live. We want everyone engaged and learning what the fuck is going on. Okay, Jolene, let's do super chat. Dun, dun. Oh, good God. JC1701 did a $100 super chat donation, which means which means I get a double shot of scotch. Good golly. This is going to be a rough night if this is how we're going to play this game. Thank you, brother. Thank you, John. Ooh. Woo! I tell you what, folks. Scotch whiskey really was a gift from God via our good friends in Scotland who are embattled, folks. Our good friends in England are embattled. Our good friends in Canada are embattled. Australia, New Zealand, Japan. Our good friends who love freedom, liberty, and have brotherly love, sisterly love for everyone, not in the fruitcake kind of way, but just good old-fashioned, real, decent human beings. Here we go. Even the camera's getting all fuzzy. It's like, hey. Oh, yes, sir. So he says, my goodness, John, you look so thirsty. Absolutely parched. Thanks for always looking out for us. Semper Fi Marine, and Semper Fi to you, John, and all Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, anyone who's an American, sportsmen, hunters, patriots. If you're a good and decent human, we want you to join us in the quest and fight to restore our republic and make freedom, folks, freedom should be the political platform. Freedom. Not how much shit can we give away. No, freedom. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Absolutely parched. A little bit lightheaded. We're 22 minutes in. Southern Trippers. Hey, I don't see a super chat with that one. No. Heart attack. You guys are fucked up. Let's not do that. Let's not get too crazy. Good, crazy, good. Yeah, let's go about this. Jolene, who is next? We've got Brad Junes. Hey, Brad's back in the house with $2 super chat donation. He says, got you again after a YouTube block. 4 months. 4 months. Folks, we're being blocked, blindsided. We're being shadow banned. We have been 100% defunded, except for those of you who are members on YouTube and super chats on YouTube. Otherwise, nothing. Zero. Zilch. Zip. Nada. Niente. Nothing. They have screwed us completely. We don't have any funding. You guys guerrilla fund this guerrilla fight against the New World Order. Oh. Hey, I've talked about the New World Order and actually put a cautionary statement out. This show discusses the New World Order, a debunked theory that there is a group of extremely wealthy people, like the World Economic Forum, hello, the Bilderberg, hello, they're real groups. And as pointed out earlier, just a few minutes ago, non-government organizations funding people who are working along the border, wearing government uniforms. Folks, they're operating under color of law, and they're getting paid by the likes of Soros, probably Zark Muckerberg, probably Beth Jesus, probably every last one of these losers that hates this country. Like Gil Bates. I'm surprised I actually got all those guys out in the right order there. Woo! I tell you, I'm getting a little hot here in the bunker. All right. Now, speaking of hot, this person's not. Who am I talking about? E. Jean Carroll. She decided she was going to tell a story about Trump. Say that she was raped by him. $83 million is what she was awarded after all of this crap with Trump. And she has been exposed as some kind of sex-crazed, pervert, weirdo, wacko who is out of her mind. Well, somebody dug up her TV show from the 1990s, folks. E. Jean Carroll. She was a completely fruitcake, off-the-handle, deranged lunatic in her own show. And even back then, just like her social media today, where she seems obsessed with sex and rape, she was obsessed with men and sex back then. And that's fine if that's who you are. I don't give a fuck. Except she decided she was going to manufacture a story about Trump. She was and is an absolute screwball, folks, and a typical Democrat. And that's what's important, is the typical Democrat will believe everything bad about Trump, even if it's vocalized by someone like E. Jean Carroll, who has crazy eyes. And there's evidence she's been whacked out, not just the last couple of years, but all the way back to the 90s. She absolutely lied about the coat dress she was wearing. Even the maker, the fashion maker, said, we didn't even have that around when she said she was raped. There was no evidence of anything. The evidence continues to come out, though, that she's full of shit. And every single Democrat is. If they're not a bunch of sex-crazed lunatics, they are completely violent and deranged, off-the-hook wackos. Like, remember this this crazed black lady, likely an LGB person. Just looking at her, she's an LGB type-looking person, was a New York City professor. Remember when a New York Post reporter tried asking her questions? She pulled a fucking machete on him. They are crazed. They're either absolute ding-dongs with sex on the mind, or they're fucking violent, radical weirdos. And we'll get into more of that, folks, because that is where we're really, you and I, our spouses, our kids, etc., at risk. Anyways, this New York City professor, she's been fired from her current college job. Don't worry, someone else will pick her up because she fits all the bills. And so she's black, she's liberal, and she's probably gay. Allegedly, someone said. You cannot not hire someone, because look at all the diversity, equity, and inclusion positions she would fill. That's like a gold mine of left-wing lunacy right there. All right, let's do this. Jolene, super chat. As we get close to 400 people live, we've got R. Farrell stepping in the room with a $1.99 super chat donation. He says, have another us. $50 super chat or more does the shots of scotch. I can't do too many, too fast, too hard, or I'll just fall down on the floor in the bunker. Can't do it. I mean, I can. Just give my liver a chance to warm up, would you? Anyways, thank you, R. Farrell, for the great little super chat. That's wonderful. Folks, what do you want to talk about as we get into this week coming up? Now, as far as I'm concerned, Sunday night, which is why we do Sunday Night Live, is the first day of the week. Well, hell, I mean, biblically, it's Sunday, the first day, and let there be light. Well, shit is happening on Sunday night, folks. Hell, it's already Monday morning in Japan, which means it's Monday morning in China, and it'll be Monday morning in Iran. Look out! Anyways, we've got our hands full. Okay. Pow. Jolene, what do we got? Who is rolling out there? Nancy Cagg checks in with a $10 super chat donation. She says, for the hot toddy fun, John, Semper Fi, Big John. I tell you what, Nancy, you're like a sister to me. Thank you very much. This is a hot toddy, by the way, full of healthy things like, well, Scotch whiskey and lemon and honey and a little bit of cinnamon. I really appreciate your great support as well. Folks, if you want to be with us live Monday through Friday, you go to thepreparedmind.club and sign up there for $2 a month. Anyways, thank you very much, Nancy. Now, where are we at? We're right here. Things are getting crazy. Things are getting crazy. What are you seeing? If you see something out there that I'm not talking about that makes sense, even if it's completely whacked out of the fucking zone, right? It just might be real. Now, my entire life, going all the way back to the 1970s, I'm that old. Sorry, ladies. I'm not as young as you might think. I'm that old. 1970s with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Steven Spielberg's early movie attempt, right? Aliens. Scary aliens. And it's been a joke. It's been a byword. The alien thing goes all the way back, folks, to Roswell, 1940. It goes all the way back into the 1800s, in fact. And now the government is actually talking about it. They're trying to declassify it. They're trying to bring it out in the open. They're trying to get us to accept it. You know what the problem is? Let me tell you what the problem is. They don't know which aliens they're going to tell us about. Are they going to be cute, little, fuzzy, furry-looking aliens? They're going to be little bald bastards with big eyes that control us and want to kill us? Are they big bug types? Are they lizard types? Or they look like me? Very tall white people. There's a conspiracy theory, folks, but they were literally talking about it in Congress. Now, back in the 1960s and then into the early 70s, the U.S. government did investigate. They had Project, not Project Bluebeam, Blue Book. That Scotch is working. Woo! And waking up some old memories here. They had all that stuff. And then they were like, nah, we're done with that. Well, the UFO thing didn't quit. Cattle mutilations didn't quit. Abductions and probings did not quit. It's still out there. So don't think as you have something to discuss that it is off the fucking table. Because it's not. Look at all the shit we've got. The CIA backs a Nazi regime in Ukraine, kicks over the government in 2014, and then starts funding them in a war, a proxy war to attack Russia? Threaten Russia. Russia fights back. Of course, kicks the shit out of the Nazis. You can't write this kind of a movie, folks. You can't write this kind of a movie. All right. This is where we're at. So let's do another one. Folks, we're almost at 400 people live. Right now, after 30 minutes. We're only 30 minutes in and we're already right at 400. Share the internet address. Hit the thumbs up button. Jolene, let's do another super chat. Let's see what the heck is going on out there. And it's Johnny Freedom Seed with a 30.80 super chat donation. But he's actually saying 308, which is 7.62 caliber military. One hell of a smoking round. If you've got an AR-10, you know what I'm talking about. If you got the civilian version of the M14, you know what I'm talking about. One hell of a round. All right. Johnny says, way too much SHTF going on to keep track of. I'm going to stop right there. That is correct. They have so much shit out there, so many distractions out there that you can't keep track of it. What's important? What's happening? What was finished? What was done? Was justice served? Who's on our back? Who's got our front? Who's our allies? Who are our enemies? I'm here to help you guys keep track of all this shit. The old noodle up here, right? I can build houses and townhouses and remodels. I can do a job and then keep track of everything on the planet. But I do need your guys' help. And really, your help matters. You know, whether it's Orlando or Darcy or Chin or Bonnie Blue or John or John or John or Ron or Marilyn or Cottage Farm or anyone out there. You guys are everywhere. And I know I just forgot a shit pile of people and now I feel guilty. Great. So guilty I could be Catholic or Jewish even. That fucking scotch is getting me. All right. So to continue with Johnny Freedom Seed, he says, hey, Too much going to keep track of. They have used distractions too many times, and now a lot of worthy news stories seems to fizzle out within hours. As always, Semper Fi, brother. Semper Fi, Johnny Freedom Seed. Now, Freedom Seeds. We know Johnny Appleseed, right? He went across the country planting apple seeds and apple trees everywhere. Apple a day keeps the doctor away. Good for the country. I don't even know what the significance of Johnny Appleseed is as an American folklore. But Johnny Freedom Seed, I get that one. Freedom Seeds, folks, are ammunition. Every round of ammunition you have, whether it's for a shotgun, a pistol, a rifle, an air rifle that shoots a 9mm, 357 or 45 caliber slug. They make air rifles. For those of you who don't want a firearm, they shoot a subsonic, deadly rifle slug. Crazy shit. Anyways, those are Freedom Seeds. Now, speaking of that, I tell you guys every week, every broadcast, have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. I actually took out the Freedom Seed spreaders today and put some rounds down range, and it was great. I had a big target I made, and I put little yellow dots on it to represent bullseyes, and it was great. Every one I shot blew the paper off there. It's fucking great. Felt great. I was providing some shooting lessons as well, and just said, this is what it takes. This is all you got to do. I don't go out every day or every week even, but you got to get the training, and I want you to get the training. I want you to get the practice so you're comfortable. Now, the person I was training didn't like the automatic, likes the revolvers. It's simple, it's quick, and it's effective. Folks, we've got hard times coming. Hard times coming. And I'm going to talk about more wackos right here on this channel and this show. I'll tell you what, Johnny. I'll tell you what, everybody, man or woman, these people are fucking nuts. And they're knucking futs. And they will kill you at some point. They're either sex craved or they're violent as fuck. I've already talked about the professor who threatened the newsman with a machete. There's a lot more coming up on that. Jolene, let's do more super chats. So while we're going, who's up next? We got Diorce checking in with a 12 gauge 1 ounce Foster slug. Beautiful. I was watching a show the other day and I go, hey, that looks like a 460 Nitro Express. And lo and behold, it was the old elephant gun. But the 12 gauge slug, folks, is the modern day version for us Americans that you can get at any gun store. Get yourself, folks, a 12 gauge shotgun. Now, when Joe Biden says get a shotgun, it's like he's putting them down to something bad. When I say get a shotgun, it's because they fucking work. Anyways, we're over 400 people live right now. The number's right there on my screen. Share that internet address up there and let's keep going. Maybe we'll hit 500. Dior says, hey, John, I've heard the audio that you have had a cat on the set live on the bunker while doing the Sunday Night Zoo. Are you a cat person? You never struck me as one. I have had cats since I was a kid. I've had cats since I was a kid. I've had dogs since I was a kid. There are cats in my life. The cat snuck down there in the bunker one time. It wasn't on Sunday Night Live. I don't think so. I believe it was during a weekday show. Now, I've had cats, dogs, fish. One of the first animals I had was my own fish. He looked a lot like Hecklefish. He was one of those. See, I've had turtle, lizards, of course. Who doesn't have a pet lizard when you're a boy? Let's see. Never had a pet snake. Don't like snakes. Let's get into the barnyard. Horses, pigs, chickens, ducks, gooses, alpacas, llamas, horses, goats. I've had all those, folks. I had 50 alpacas at one time, back when I was both married and wealthy. I don't know how wealthy I was, but I had enough barns and property to have alpaca ranch and horse ranch. Anyways, I tell you what, Diorce, yeah, I've had animals. I had 5 horses at once, probably a total of 10 horses total over the years. I have scooped more shit than you guys can imagine. Literal truckloads of shit. I had a mountain of manure that I used to have at the ranch. And I would just run ads and people would come up. I'd say, hey, $5, scoop away all the shit you want for fertilizer, you know, for people's gardens. And they come up and they pay me to take my shit away. It was great. Anyways, yeah, cats crack me up. They're very useful. I had this one cat named Pumpkin, lived in my barn before I built that giant bunker of a house that I had. Don't worry. The bunker's still there. My ex-wife is taking care of it for me. So the one cat, Pumpkin, she lived in my barn before I even built the house. No water, no food, no one taking care of it. Fucking cat was a survivor. Cat was like a prepper. It just dug in and lived there. It was a crazy cat, but it did great. Kept the mice down, kangaroo rats, wood rats, field mice. It ate everything. It did a great job. They're very useful, having cats to patrol your bunker and keep the rats away. All right, enough of my furry friendship, guys. Not a furry, but yeah, animals are good for you. They're good for your soul. You need to be clean, though. All right, why did we go down that road? How did we get down there? Anyways, Jolene, who's up next? Holy bananas, it's Shelly Chavers with a $20 super chat donation. And I always wonder. I see. She's holding a can of Lysol. All right, she says, I was born in Texas and still live in Texas. God bless you, Shelly, and God bless Texas. I love Texans. My mom was born in Texas. My dear old mom. She still lives in Texas. God bless my mother. She lives outside of San Antonio. Pray for her safety. She's a good old lady. Anyway, Shelly says, my question, John, do you think enough states will support Texas if we opt for civil war over the border crisis? This is an interesting question. So allow me, please, to kind of break it down into some parts, okay? So part number one is we have a southern border. The federal government is charged through the Constitution with defending that border and protecting our country from invasion by civilians, by military, by aggressors, by anybody. It is a border. It is to be secured and protected against foreign nationals, not protected against Americans, protected against foreign nationals. Now, the government has been derelict in its duty intentionally. It's not that it was a surprise that we have a southern border. I think the country in Washington, D.C., the government has known that the southern border exists for the last 249 years. No surprises. There is a southern border. And it has been, folks, this is not a modern thing. The United States government did not invent the concept of secure borders. It is a maxim, meaning it is understood. It is basic. It is self-explanatory. It's the way it is. Every country has always protected its border. And at times of war, in times of crisis, in times of shock, in times of shortage, governments will protect their border with deadly force, even if threatened. Not just arresting you and maybe beating the shit out of you, but just protecting it with guns. Now, government's not doing its job. So Texas says, fuck you, we'll do it. Federal government goes to the Supreme Court and says, you can't have fences. Texas says, we don't give a fuck what you think. You're not doing your job. And an emergency exists, and our sovereignty and safety, that is of Texas, supersedes any constitutional dereliction by Washington, D.C. So fuck yourself. And so states are supporting Texas and standing behind, and even in front of Texas. So your question is, if we opt for civil war, meaning if Texas says we will at all costs defend ourselves, even against other Americans who are coming to our state to allow us by force, to allow an invasion to destroy us, that's an act of war against Texas by the federal government. If they hire Texans and try and force Texans, as in Texas-born, Texas-native, Texas citizens, to work for the federal government, either as Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security, Texas Guard, or anyone else, then they are a mercenary force in Texas, domestically fighting against Texas, as well as all the good people of these United States that love freedom and want our country secure. So if we are attacked, or rather I should say if Texas is attacked by the federal government, it has a right to defend itself, not only its border, but itself, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And it would be a domestic enemy that tells Texas it must allow itself to be invaded, it must allow itself to be suicided and overrun with illegal criminals. And if Texas decides to fight that, I think you can bet your ass there will be enough states to support Texas. Let me also tell you, in my opinion, Shelley, that the military will not support Washington, D.C. fighting Texas. Everyone knows Texas doesn't take shit, and they shouldn't. In fact, the military, the fighting units of the military, respect Texas. There is a national, folks, a national saying out there. Remember the Alamo. What was the Alamo about? It was not about being invaded by Mexicans and other illegals, but it was about Texans fighting against another army. Shelley, God bless Texas. And I would fight to defend Texas. I would fight to the death to defend Texas from an invasion. And I would fight to defend Texas from Washington, D.C. because they're acting like domestic enemies. There's foreign and domestic enemies. And I swore in my oath, and I believe in my heart as an American, not as a Washington, D.C. person, but as an American. I believe in freedom and liberty, not what these fucking people are doing in Washington, D.C. When they take time to stop from having anal sex in the Senate conference room, when they want to try and destroy this country, they're a bunch of freaks. Now, there is a Republican who is a congressman. He is also a former Navy SEAL. His name is Morgan Luttrell. And he has introduced a bill to allow the use of force by our National Guard when they have dangerous encounters with armed illegals at the border. Now, at first I read this and I thought, wow, we need legislation like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether you are a Texas National Guard, whether you're a Texas lawman, or whether you're just a plain old Texan, you have a right to defend your life against anybody who is threatening you, not just armed threats, but other threats. A group of people threatening you is life-threatening. In order to defend yourself using deadly force, all you have to do is believe that you and others around you are having their lives threatened with great bodily injury and harm or death. You got a bunch of illegals at the border standing there with guns. They're not there because they're selling Girl Scout cookies. They're not there asking to be friends. They're there with violence on the mind. if someone is at that border right now, facing America with a gun in their arms, the National Guard should have what's known as rules of engagement. But as far as being a human being, I don't need anyone's permission to defend myself and others around me and my nation. That is what the Second Amendment is. It is not permission given to me by the government. It is my right telling the government, you will not interfere. Shall not be infringed. So I appreciate that the Navy SEAL, Morgan Luttrell, who's also a congressman, has introduced this bill. But what he's trying to do is normalize a right. But it looks like you're giving permission. It allows the use of force. The use of force is inherent in every one of us, me and you, to protect ourselves, our state, our country. And Navy SEALs, folks, are some bad motherfuckers. That's all there is to it. Anyways, I appreciate Morgan Luttrell's effort to try and get America to understand we have a serious problem down there. As a Marine, as an American, as a patriot, you and I, we all know we have a right to defend ourselves and our country. And some would even say a duty. There you have it. We're rolling up on an hour, folks. We're rolling up on an hour. Whew. Let's do this. We're at 443 people live. Pow. Good golly, great show. Share that internet address. If you're just now checking in, hit the thumbs up button. Let's do another super chat donation. Make sure you're a subscriber also. And Chin Music checking in with a $4.99 super chat donation. That's right. If you've got a question, comment, thought, we can get you up here on the screen. You just got to hit that button and you can do it. Now, Chin Music says the SHTF overload is called flood the zone or overwhelm the system. Johnny Freedom Seed, Cloven and Piven, or Cloward and Piven, take your pick. Words out the same. The Germans called it blitzkrieg. Right? Blitz. We all know that from football. Hey, man, we got to get to the quarterback. We got to pressure him. Blitz. And the idea is you send so much at once that it overwhelms everything. Overwhelms, overruns, floods. Flood the zone. Overwhelm the system. Blitz. Lightning attack. That is what the Democrats are doing right now. A lightning attack of grooming pedo perv fruitcakes. A lightning attack of destroy the military. A lightning attack of flood the country with illegals. A lightning attack of we need more wars. A lightning attack of you don't have rights. You have privileges only. Wow. Thank you, Chin Music. That is very true. Flood the zone. Overwhelm the system. Take your pick. It's all the same thing. They are doing an attack on us, folks. We are under attack. Have you heard the Pentagon, anyone in the Pentagon or the Department of Defense or the Secretary of Defense say anything about defending our border? They ought to. The Secretary of Defense should be standing in front of a microphone and saying to the president, I'm ready to help in any way possible, using the military to defend our border against an invasion of people who are pouring across, over, under, and through the holes, through tunnels, across rivers, every way they can to get into our country. And that's just wrong. And I won't stand for it as Secretary of Defense. Mr. President, we either use every and all means possible, or I will tender my resignation. And that is what a man of integrity would do, a true patriot. You don't see a whole lot of that in Washington, D.C., do you? No, you don't. They would rather take their paycheck, screw everyone over, and just sit on their fucking hands and watch this country be destroyed. Thank you, Chin Music. Jolene, who is up next? I know we got some lined up super chats. We got Fishman with a $10 super chance. He says, in my opinion, as far as the Texas border goes, without being deputized by an official, stay away from that border. The feds love locking good folks up for nothing. Oh, he's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Federal government agents, Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Enforcement, right? Customs and Border Patrol, La Migra, Border Patrol. They're feds. Now, they want to lock up Americans. Look what they did in Washington, D.C. They will say, you are interfering with their ability to do their jobs. You are obstructing them. That's what they tried saying about Texas. And Texas said, the fuck we are. You're derelict. Get the fuck out of our park. Get the fuck out of the way. What I recommend, folks, if you want to go help on the border, is you go down to the border, find the sheriff's office, call them on the phone. Don't go down there. Call them on the phone. Say, I want to be deputized. I'm willing to work to protect our nation. And flood their offices with calls of we'll do what it takes. Deputize them. Folks, they can put, look, when I moved out of California, they had, the entire time I lived there, they had a sheriff's posse. I ain't shitting you. Sheriff's posse. They all wore white shirts. They all had a star on their chest. And they all had cowboy hats and shit-kicking boots. But they were fucking deputized posse members. I think that these Texans and these sheriffs, if they deputized good Texans, let them have a nice little badge, nice little silver star, the feds could fuck off. You could say, I've been authorized by the sheriff in this county, and the sheriff is the highest law of the land in the county, folks. Now, I also understand we have a state of emergency down there, and it is chaotic and stupid. And so I understand why Fishman would say, stay away from that border. If you got business there, you have a reason to be there. If you're deputized, then, right, you're authorized to be there. Now, I don't know if we're to the stage yet where we need that. In fact, the Texas National Guard, supplemented by other states who are sending equipment, food, support, money, and other National Guard from their states, folks. I think we're doing well in turning the tide. This needs to be stopped and fixed instantly. And I think it should. I think that the military ought to go along the border and set up tear gas. It's not deadly, folks. Just set it up as a deterrent. Get the fuck back. Do not come to the fence. Do not come across the river. This is the shit we got to deal with, folks. These fucking people. All right, let us continue. Thank you, Fishman, very much. Great to hear from you. Jolene, who do we have up next as we roll into, well, we're at the end of the hour. We got William Hallman with a 556 super chat donation. He says, hey, John, there is a refuge camp in Greensboro, North Carolina. The name of it is the Greensboro Global Academy. The local news channel is covering it. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. A global academy is what they're calling this refugee camp. Interesting. I don't know how people that get across the border are getting to a refugee camp in Greensboro, North Carolina. There are a couple things I don't like about this, William. Number one, who set this up? Who set up the Greensboro Global Academy? Who is paying for it? Why is it called the Global Academy? And what kind of camp is it? Could the camp be converted into a concentration camp, an open-air prison? Could they let all the refugees go one day and fill it with, well, enemies of the state, according to screwball Democrats? Could these local refugee camps, which are mini wannabe concentration camps, could they be federalized overnight? You see the local news channel covering these camps, and shall we say, then I love calling them refugees. They're not fucking refugees. They're illegal border crossers. They're invaders, foreign invaders who have illegally come here. They're criminals. They're putting them in schools, homeless shelters, filling up hotels, making you and me pay for this shit. Oh, it makes me mad. But they're normalizing it. The longer they're here, the more of them are, we're supposed to accept it. That is winning. That is winning through attrition, wearing people down, destroying them, getting us used to their violence, the violence of the left. Oh, well, let me tell you about the violence of the left. Well, in New York, that's right, New York City area, that's Democrat land, even though, yeah, there's a lot of people screaming for Trump. In a New York Burg council, a councilwoman is threatened to slice another councilperson's throat. The violence of the left. The Democrat majority leader of the Yonkers City Council was reported to have said that she wanted to, quote, slice this bitch's throat because that bitch called for a vote to remove her from leadership. So, you don't like the leadership, you try getting rid of it, vote of no confidence, you get your throat threatened with a good slicing. This is how Democrats really, truly want to operate, folks. It's not going to get better. They're violent freaks. That is what the leftists are. Like this little story. In Washington, D.C., folks, the murders go up. Democrat D.C. murders. Now, this time it was a former Trump administration worker. Mike Gill. He was shot, folks, killed. Because there's been a spree of carjackings lately in Washington, D.C. So he was shot. He was killed. Why? Because he had a car. Because Democrat D.C. murders, that's just fine. Let the people run wild. Yeah, I'm sure the murdering, car-thieving scumbags are not Republicans. Unbelievable, folks. Unfucking believable. All right, Jolene, let's see who is up next. What are we going to talk about? What's on your mind? It is Order, Divine Warrior. And as a Prepared Mind member, woohoo, awesomeness. Welcome, Order, Divine Warrior. Now, share that internet address up there with everybody you know. Friends, family, coworkers, even people you don't like. Right? They need to wake up. They need to smell the coffee. They need to get a shot of scotch. And finally, I'm starting to even out. We did 4 shots of scotch right off the bat. Pretty heavy duty stuff, yeah. $50 super chats, do a shot of scotch. Otherwise, we get you up on the board. We get your thoughts, your questions, prognostications, the topics you want to discuss. Sunday Night Live is your show. What do you want to talk about? I've got a ton of shit I want to talk about, but it is your show. So let's see what's on your mind. Jolene, who's up next? Oh, and it is Michael Rondo with a $10 super chat. And he says, it's an election year and good luck to everyone. Michael Rondo, number one, thank you for the great support. This channel is supported by you guys directly. It is 100% completely, this channel, The Prepared Mind, 100% completely monetized. And we get $0 for monetization. It is you guys and your super chats that keep this show going on Sunday nights. Thank you, Michael Rondo, and good luck to everyone. This is an election year, and it's going to get fucked up. We've been talking about shit hitting the fan here since the end of 2013. We're now past 10 years into our 11th year, and it hit the fan, folks. We're watching it come apart. Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Do you have your plan? Do you understand the world around you? Here's you. This is the 10 miles around you. Inside that 10 miles, people can walk to your house, to your bunker, to your bug out shelter, to your place of safety, to your community, and they can make your life a living hell. Know who is that 10-mile radius around you. Understand their politics, their belief systems, basically demographics. It's important. And knowing the world around you. What is the perspective of these fucking morons that want to destroy America? What are they willing to do? What should you be willing to do to protect yourself, your family, your community, your coworkers, your city, county, your state? Are you willing to lay down and let these fruitcakes kill you if they want? Or are you going to stand up for yourself and make a difference? Call your congressman, call your state assemblyman, call your senators, call your governor, email, text, write, carrier pigeon, smoke signal, whatever it takes. Get the fucking message out. If you're new here, hit the thumbs up, subscribe down below, share that internet address, and super chat donation right there. Wow. Heartburn going. Ah, Jolene, who's up next? Who's up? And it's Marilyn Myers with a $4.99 super chat donation. Thank you again, Marilyn, for the news tips you send in. She asked this question. When are they going to add criminal charges to the Homeland Security Weasel impeachment charges? What she's saying is the Department of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, he's the head of it. He's the boss. He's the big chief. He is the one who is running the border for Biden. They've got lots of impeachment charges. Why aren't they impeaching him? Why aren't they removing him from office? Why isn't Congress, which is run by Republicans under MAGA Mike Johnson, why aren't they defunding the Department of Homeland Security? They have the purse strings, which means the money. Take the money, shut them down, stop payment on all checks, undo the Border Patrol. Texas needs protection, along with New Mexico, Arizona, California. It's killing me, Maryland. There are a number of ways to fix this shit. There's a number of ways. There's a number of ways to fix it right now. Biden can't figure out if he has authority or not to do something about the border. Oh, perfect. Kick all feds out of Texas. Get the fuck out of here. Because you don't seem to know what your fucking job is or how to do it. And let Texas handle it. Let Texas handle its own border, can deputize its own people, bring in its own National Guard, have other states send help. We don't need the federal government, folks. It was designed to do just a few items, and if they can't figure it out, get the fuck out of the way and let Americans handle this. Let Americans, kind of like this guy. In Texas, a guy, he's a 22-year-old man. I got a picture of him on the internet. He's got a little mustache. But you can look through that mustache and you see a baby-faced young man. Well, I think he shaved off his mustache. And he posed as a kid, a minor, in order to lure, folks, these fruitcake Democrat sex offenders. Well, a 37-year-old man decided he was going to go after this kid. Well, the predator tried raping him because that's what he would have done if he had a chance. And the young man, the young American, the young Texan killed the fucker. He killed him because he was a child rapist piece of shit. I wonder if the Democrats are going to scream, see, this is what that movie Sound of Freedom did, man. People are stepping up and taking care of the perverts. Yeah. You know why the guy did that? I consider him a hero because he put himself in harm's way to prove that these people out here are a bunch of child raping scumbags. He did this because he said the police and the government are not doing enough to protect children. Now, I'm not glamorizing or glorifying murdering people. I'm not suggesting anyone do anything dangerous, dumb, stupid, or harmful. I'm not suggesting people become vigilante law enforcement. I'm just saying, damn. America appreciates the fact that another fucking pedophile, and he's a registered sex offender who failed to register and a couple other things in his life, has been taken off of the gene pool. He's been taken out. I can't say that I'm sad. These fucking sick people, folks. Okay, let us continue. We're at 460 people live. Let's get it up to 500 and let's get this show on the road. Jolene, who's up next? We've got Boomer 21 with a Canadian $20 super chat donation. And he asked this question. Why can't all the red states who choose to follow the Constitution protect their borders, deport the illegal border jumpers, and declare the Brandon administration an enemy of the U.S.? Now, you got a full basket of questions there, Boomer, and I appreciate it, man, and I hope you guys up north in Canada continue to oust Justin Turdhole, the Prime Minister. In fact, I was watching a conference on mining out of Vancouver. It's a fucking mining conference in Vancouver. They were saying get rid of that fucking Justin Trudeau. That was great. Anyways, let us continue. There's a lot of questions here. Why can't all the red states who choose to follow the Constitution protect their borders? Let me read that to you this way. They don't get to choose to follow the Constitution. They must obey the Constitution as government workers. Therefore, they are bound to protect their borders. Now, the Constitution allows, all of the constitutions allow for travel, interstate travel by Americans, by natural-born Americans. Americans born in this country can travel from state to state to state. There's no border to protect. Even in a pandemic emergency, that whole idea of stopping people at the border is a big fuck you. They cannot stop people. Now, they can stop commercial traffic under, well, some other bullshit statutes, but we'll just never mind and get into that. The borders that need the most protection are the edges of the country. So the southern border along Mexico and the northern border along Canada. I don't mind Canadians. They are Anglo-based law and order, or at least they were. Kind of like the United States used to be a constitutional republic, and now the Democrats are calling it a democracy. And they're afraid to death of someone converting it back into a constitutional republic. So when they see Donald Trump, they're afraid of him, and they think he's going to destroy their democracy. I want democracy taken down. It is an inferior form of government. America, the United States of, had a constitutional republic established in 1789. They did not want democracy. They didn't ask for democracy. They didn't create democracy. They created a republic. But the Democrats, folks, think we have a democracy, which is you vote for whatever you get. But then they're saying your vote doesn't even count. Unfucking believable how these people think. So let us continue. Deport the illegal border jumpers and declare the Brandon administration an enemy of the United States. The Brandon administration is an enemy of these United States, not the United States government, which is Washington, D.C. He has shown himself to be an enemy of this country in many ways I shall describe. He is giving our treasure to other countries. Most namely and of note is Ukraine. He has given $150+ billion, $150+ billion to a country to fight a war in the name of Joe Biden's administration against a nuclear superpower that they antagonized and threatened until they invaded Ukraine to protect their citizens who were being systematically killed in a form of genocide by Nazi brigades of Ukraine. And he is spending our treasure and causing other nations, the people of other nations, to lose their lives. Joe Biden, the enemy of these United States of America, withdrew our troops from the country of Afghanistan, abandoned $86 billion in military equipment, hardware, and infrastructure, and left tens of thousands. The argument is between, was it 25,000 or 50,000 American civilians, abandoned them in a third world shithole with no way to get home, and told them it's their responsibility to figure it out. Marines and soldiers were killed in this cowardly evacuation. The federal government, the Biden administration, the Department of Defense, the Pentagon knew terrorists were coming in. They were alerted by snipers, by lookouts, that terrorists were coming to bomb them, and they refused to do anything to stop it. They allowed the murder of our service troops by a terrorist. Joe Biden has abandoned the southern border and allowed over 10 million illegal immigrants into this country in the 3 years he has been president. That's over 3 million a year. To the detriment of this country, our treasure, our social systems, our commercial systems, our hospital systems, our healthcare systems, our housing systems. You cannot stuff. You can't stuff another 3% population into this country and expect everything to support it. The country produces enough food to feed the citizens and send some other countries. So these people coming here, they are here, folks, and they're living out of our pantries, our bank accounts. I agree with you, Boomer. He is an enemy of these United States, occupying the seat of power and authority in Washington, D.C. And he is a treasonous, traitorous, murderous, thieving slug. And I hope he is voted out of office in November. Do everything you can, folks. Tell your states we want an honest election. We want paper ballots. We want identification required to vote. This is it. Shit at the fan 2024. It is on. Thank you, Boomer, very much. We got Uman in the house. We got Jolene in the house. We got everyone in the house. We got 450 people live. Who is next on the Prepared Mind channel? We got Chin Music back again. Pow! With another $4.99 super chat donation. And he says, many of us are waiting for just such a call. I'll throw some elbows to be first in line. I bet you will, brother. There's a lot of pissed off Americans, a lot of pissed off fucking Texans who want the problem fixed. Look, if you got a toilet with a big turd stuck in it, you take a plunger to it. You get that turd out of the way. I know that's kind of gross. Yeah, we have the tools. We have the talent. It's not that hard to figure out. Yes, it's a little messy. Yes, it stinks. But you can take care of the turds. The Mexicans, the Central Americans, the South Americans, the Africans, the Middle Easterns, the Far Easterns, people that are coming through Mexico, they know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is against our laws. They know they need to be stopped. They know they need to be turned around. They know they need to have their asses kicked right out of the fucking country. So when they're met with guns, they're going to know. They're not like, hey, that's against the law. No, actually, they're upholding the law. Upholding the law. Even Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, television psychologist. He decided he was going to show up down on Chin Music's southern border there. And he said, hey, Biden's doing this all wrong. The scale of this is off the charts. It's a huge crisis. And I say, welcome to the party, Phil. I mean, really, Dr. Phil had to go there to figure it out. Well, I'm glad he took his time, spent his money, and went down to the border to see the nature of the crisis, realized it's real. Great, we got Dr. Phil. Oh, I know. Maybe Taylor Swift needs to go down to the border and have a big fucking concert, make 10, 20, 30 million dollars and bring attention to the border crisis and that it needs to be stopped and everyone needs to be turned around and sent home. So they quit piling up on the border, killing themselves to get into our country and killing our country at the same fucking time. Thank you, Chin Music. Thank you, Jolene. And who is next? Where are we going next? We're an hour and 20 minutes in. Holy cow. Fuck. You guys, you're on it. We got Mr. Skylight. And thank you for all the great memes over the weekend. Holy shit. I have been doing all I can to catch up and recover. Get a little bit of R&R time in. A little bit of trigger time in. A couple of Z's. Catch up on some sleep. And then tonight after the show, I go make sure I get a good night's sleep. Mr. Skylight loves great quotes for the show, and I want to thank you, sir, for a great super chat donation. He says, both optimists and let me start that again. She's just touching the bottle of scotch almost fucked me up. Both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. The optimist invents the aeroplane. The pessimist invents the parachute. That is a George Bernard Shaw. How about that? The man lived to be 94. He's an Irish author and activist. Now, the optimist invents the airplane. The pessimist invents the parachute. But they both solved a problem, didn't they? We need faster travel. Let's create an airplane. Just in case something goes wrong, a parachute. We need a better lifestyle, a better government. We invent the republic, a constitutional republic. And instead of a parachute, we have the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth, the Seventh, the Eighth, the Ninth, the 10th. The Bill of Rights was the parachute. It wasn't pessimism, though, in the case of our great republic. They caused us to put in the Bill of Rights. It wasn't pessimism, afraid of the constitutional republic crashing. It was an understanding that human nature by those in power is oftentimes turned to greed, evil, and corruption. And here we are in 2024, basically 250 years later. And what do we see? Greed and corruption, arrogance, thievery, and even murder by the federal government. Thank God for the Bill of Rights. They are not permission. They are not permission from the government. It is a commandment to the government to leave us the fuck alone. And they even think they have a right to talk about that. Mr. Skylight, what a great, great quote. Thank you, sir. Both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. So the optimist said, let's build a constitutional republic, a great nation. But the intelligent and even pessimistic side said, hey, we know about human nature. We need to put in fail-safes, a parachute, if you will. As the republic crashes, we can punch out, pull the chutes, land on our feet, and regain our country and our competency and our sanity. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. Jolene, who comes up next after that? Who do we have in line? I know we got a lot. I'm trying to catch up. You guys are wild tonight. And it's Uman. Holy cow. He says, it's the birthday girl, Charlanator. Congratulations on the completion of another lap around the sun. Woo! Okay, there's one birthday. Apparently, we've got another birthday here on February 4th. Hey, it's Luke Thompson. He says, I apologize that I'm late. After all, it is my birthday. Brother, I hope you had a great birthday. I hope you had family, friends, and loved ones to share in rest and repose, comfort, relaxation. We have one hell of a fight ahead of us, everyone. We all have our birthdays. Semper Fi. Congratulations. Get ready for the fight. Get ready for the fight. What am I talking about? Folks, on CNN, you know, the most trusted name in news. Do you believe that for a fucking second? I don't. This guy named Van Jones, he was part of the Obama administration. Now he's on the extended Biden administration over at CNN. He says that young voters have a nickname for Joe Biden. And it is not Joe Mama. It is not Let's Go Brandon. The young people, folks, that is to say 30 years and younger, have a special name for Joe. I think it's fucking funny. Van Jones says it's a big problem for Joe Biden because the Democrats like to pretend like they own the young vote, the way Democrats like to pretend they own the black vote and the Hispanic vote and the poor vote and the working vote. Who, if anyone, has benefited from Joe Biden's policies in this fucking country? The only people I know benefiting are the likes of Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, big corporations and big banks. In other words, the super rich corporations have bought the government. The young voters are calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe. I think that's fucking funny. And I think Van Jones is correct. Now, Van Jones is a smart man. He's a fucking Marxist, from what I can tell. I don't agree with him, not a bit, but he's a smart man. And I think that's what makes him, as a communist, very fucking dangerous. But Genocide Joe, folks, not G.I. Joe, Genocide Joe. We have trouble, folks. We have trouble. I tell you, I've got all kinds of shit to talk to you guys about. All kinds of shit. But it's your show. It is Sunday Night Live. We're at 453 people live. We're shooting back up again. I would love to tap 500 and then come back down. We got close a little bit ago. It's up to you guys, though. If you just checked in, if someone just sent you the link, hit the thumbs up. You're watching this live. If you need to, you can pull that bar on the bottom, grab it, pull it back to the beginning, and watch at the beginning. If you have something to say, super chat button right there gets your comments on the screen, and we talk about your topic. Everyone needs to be informed and understand everything that's going on. Sunday Night Live, we catch up. We go Monday through Friday, but Sunday Night Live, we kick off the week. We kick off the week. Understand this. Why am I in the bunker? Because President Trump sat down with Maria Bartiromo. Who is she? Well, I think she's with Fox News. Trump went on. She is the last vestige of anyone who can do a decent fucking interview in mainstream media, whether it's Fox, NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, FUNBC, ABC, CBS, if they even have a fucking newsroom anymore, and CNN. Anyways, Trump says this, quote, I believe we're going to have a terrorist attack. 100%. Folks, basically, President Trump has predicted a false flag. He knows it is coming. President Trump should also be aware that there are threats against his life and that there are many people that believe it would be better if he were just assassinated. Assassinated. It's a huge risk. What do you want to talk about? Super chat button up there or down below. Let's see what the heck is going on, folks. It's not just President Trump who's in trouble. It's everybody. Nobody is secure. Now get this, folks. There is a teacher out there. And you can bet your ass he's a fucking Democrat socialist. He has told students in a video that has gone viral. Videos right here on the Prepared Mind channel used to go viral, folks. We have video that's gone well over 1 million. We have videos that used to do 100,000, 50,000 all the time. until, well, of course, YouTube said, hey, we can't have that. We can have people having opinions that, well, don't agree with ours. So get this. If you're a fruitcake, left-wing, murderous piece of shit, you can have videos go viral. And a teacher is telling students to think about doing transphobic attacks on J.K. Rowling. Who is J.K. Rowling? That's the person who wrote the Harry Potter books, who is denied that there are more than two genders, that if you're born with a penis, that makes you a male, a man. And if you're born with a vagina, that makes you a woman, and that's what you are. So they're calling him, they continue to call her, J.K. Rowling is a her, a transphobic, and that students need to be thinking about attacking. Have we not had enough left-wing, murderous, mass murdering assaults? There were not many mass murders under Trump. There have been a shit pile of mass murders by, shall we say, left-wing fruitcakes during the Biden administration. It continues. Folks, these people are not going to quit. They're not going to go away. We're past 90 minutes on this Sunday Night Live, folks, at the zoo. We got The Prepared Mind on YouTube, The Prepared Mind from subscribestar.com, and The preparedmind.club. The preparedmind.club. We're all here right now. At least if you want. There it is, The preparedmind.club. I would also like, we need, at the preparedmind.club, we have, let's see, links to everything you need: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, tools for self-defense. Medicine, folks, means first aid, means antibiotics. Everything we can get that before it gets shut down anyways out there. And we also have links to gold and silver. We've got it all. We don't sell anything. This warehouse back here, that warehouse, that's full of preps for me to keep me alive during SHTF. Right? You need to get your own system set up to protect you and to protect your wealth and to protect your family. Anyways, this Democrat teacher, we also need the R Syndicate put up here. The R Syndicate is a clearinghouse of all prepper, patriot, survivalist websites. And it is run by Uman. Uman is he's one of the administrators here on the preparedmind.club, the preparedmind.com, and YouTube. Pardon me. So if there's any websites, social media out there, Uman's put them there. There it is, the R Syndicate. That was created back when there was a lot of that QAnon sense. And we trusted the plan, and nothing was done. There was no plan. There was no QAnon. Nothing happened. It was a giant LARP. It was a fake. It was a sham. It was a joke. And people sat back. They sat on their fucking hands. They sat on their thumbs and did nothing, thinking someone else was going to take care of the problem for them. And here we are today. And what is Texas saying? I guess we have a problem. We need to take care of it ourselves. Getting prepared. No one else will do it for you. You have to do it. I'm not going to tell you what to think. You have to think for yourself. But we will supply, supplies and information. The preparedmind.club, folks, is where you can go to get information and links so you can get the things you need. We are not a warehouse, but we do know what works and doesn't work. We do our very best. All right, we got another super chat. Someone's got something to say. Jolene, who is it? Holy cow, it's Johnny Freedom Seed back with a 556 super chat donation. He hit that button up here as we dive into the last half hour of the show tonight. Now, all that said, if there's continuing to be questions, I'll go past the 2-hour mark. Probably one of the few shows that can go this long, and we're not talking about the same subject. I'm not beating the dead horse that, right, we have lots to talk about. In fact, it was brought up at the beginning of the show that there's so much going on, it's hard to keep up, but we'll keep up. Now, Johnny Freedom Seed says, Scotch. He says, first thing I thought when Ron dropped out and left Nikki there, something may happen to Donald J. Trump. Now, what's he talking about? When Ron DeSantis decided to drop out of the presidential race, acknowledge, support, and endorse President Trump, leaving neocon Nikki as a presidential candidate hopeful. He thought, hey, now that DeSantis is out of the way, yeah, they could go after him. Now, there's never going to be, at least in my lifetime, as far as I know, another Donald Trump candidate. I feel incredibly blessed to have had Ronald Wilson Reagan as a president when I was a kid, though he scared the shit out of me. The idea of nuclear war scared the shit out of me during the Cold War with the Soviet Union, a bunch of communists. Right, he was the great communicator. Trump is not Washington. He's not George Washington. He's not Andrew Jackson. He's not Teddy Roosevelt. He's Donald Trump. And at a time when we need someone to stand up and call a spade and an idiot and a fruitcake a fruitcake, he's done a good job that way. He needs to realize that freedom comes first. It's about freedom. It's about our constitutional republic. If we don't have those things in place, everything else is superfluous. It is transitory and it'll go away really fucking fast. Have you or have you not noticed that? So, yeah, there was a big chance, Johnny, that Donald J. Trump is he's exposed and continues to be exposed. In fact, last week, the Secret Service decided that they would not be wearing red ties because Trump does wear a red tie, and they don't want to get mistaken for Trump, as if that could be done. The orange man tends to stick out in the crowd. Anyways, thank you, Johnny, very much. Your support keeps this channel alive. Pays the bill, keeps the light on, keeps the spam, keeps the tuna fish, and keeps the scotch in the pantry. Now, the Democrats are dangerous. They're incredibly stupid, too. In fact, one of the Democrat leadership members, one of the idiots in D.C., decided he was going to step in front of a microphone and open his mouth. This guy is not a leader. But to the Democrats, I guess he is. His name is Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries. Sounds like an American to me, right? Well, whatever. What's in a name? A rose is a rose. So he says, Hakeem does, as we enter into the campaign season, the American people are beginning to focus on President Biden's incredible track record of results. He's that fucking stupid to say that. Is he lying? No, he's not lying. In all truth, Hakeem Jeffries has said the truth. The question is he actually supporting and helping Biden with that? I mean, Hakeem is a giant moron, folks. And I'm going to assume that like 99.99% of Democrats, that he thinks that Joe Biden's record is a good record of accomplishments. That he has a track record of positive results. I think that Hakeem is that stupid guy. The one in 10,000, 99.99% of Democrats that disagrees with them, I think, is Bill Maher, who's on HBO, who tends to disagree a lot with what Democrats are doing to themselves in the country. Yet the dumb fucker is still a Democrat. Anyways, Hakeem thinks that Americans are now paying attention to the track record. I think that they are. Open border, mass shootings, violent transsexuals, drag queen group just groping, disgusting, grooming drag queens, abandoning 25 to 50,000 Americans in Afghanistan, where many people, folks, were killed and many kept as sex slaves. Marines and soldiers killed by terrorists, left in harm's way, undefended, sending our money overseas. Yeah. Yeah. The American people are focusing on Biden's track record of results. They are all shit results. They are. The Democrats are fucking lost as fuck. Lost. Whew. We're still going, folks. I still have fresh things to talk about. And Jolene says you guys do too. Let's do it, Jolene. Who's up next? Right here. Do a super chat. I put you on the board. We talk about it. Bioxo checks in with a $1.99 super chat donation. He says, any good fizzer files today? The Jim Jones juice. I had some. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Bioxo. No Jim Jones juice updates. Well, give me a second. Let me go through the file here. No. I really wanted to focus on the weekend news with respect to politics and the fight we have. We'll get back into taking a wild guess later this week. And what he's asking about, if you're new to the channel, if you're new and you just hit the subscribe button, is we do a segment called Take a Wild Guess. And I'll bring up a super athlete, an important or famous person, right? Someone who's into physical fitness, young people, kids who just die of a fucking heart attack for no apparent reason. And there's an unbelievable amount of people dying and also, folks, getting cancer. Huge cancer clusters just popping up. And we just take a wild guess what caused it. And I think everyone here understands what Jim Jones juice is. Jim Jones juice. I tell you, this hot toddy is pretty powerful too. Oh, yeah. For medicinal purposes. All right. Thanks, Bioxo. Appreciate the support. Jolene, who else has something to say? And it is Diorce, and he's back again with $4.27 super chat donation. And I wondered, is it going to be a $4.27 Chevelle? What a car, man. I was a big fan of the, 68, 69, 70 Chevelle. Beautiful cars. That 427 Chevrolet motor was something. But the 427 Cobra Jet by Ford was one hell of a motor, too. Anyway, Dior says, as of this post, 427 people live. Almost 2 hours in, folks. And we ain't done talking. There's more to go. Dior, thank you, sir. And if you got a 427 Chevelle, that's fucking great. American cars used to be, if nothing else, just plain beautiful. Today's cars and trucks, well, I mean, they're interesting, they're powerful, they're technological marvels, but don't try and charge them when you're traveling down the road. All right, let's move on. Jolene, who is up next? What else have we got out there? Brad Jones. With a $2 super chat, he says, what's with the yurt now? Shows I loved. The yurt is still standing. In the RMZ, the yurt is out there, folks. Solar panels, batteries, deck, that fucking shed I built. Good God, Brad, you just brought up some memories, man. I decided to leave California. For everyone who's new here, back in 2020, I made a decision to hop on a plane, go check out some property in lands far away in the tropics. I had it at that time with too many people saying, you don't know anything about surviving. You don't know. You're not tough. You're not a this. You're not a that. And a bunch of other bullshit. My sons grew up. The last son moved out. And by the way, he's doing fantastic. Both my sons are just doing amazing. They're both hardworking, tax-paying Americans. Anyways, they moved out. There was nothing else holding me back. So I feng shuied and sold everything I had that wouldn't fit into a 6 foot by 7 foot by 8 foot cargo container. And the green tank, the F-350 four-door long bed, 7.3 liter diesel powered monster. And I drove it to the port of Oakland, got on a plane, and flew to the RMZ, which is the real man zone. There were a couple other nicknames for it, but the real man zone. I got off the plane, and there was a quarantine back because it was July 11th of 2020, right in the heart of all the fear and bullshit and lies. And they said, you got to stay on your property for 2 weeks. You cannot leave. I said, but what about water? What about food? What about anything? They said, we don't give a fuck. You leave, we'll arrest you. And we'll fine you thousands of dollars. So I showed up. I had a golf bag and a suitcase. A golf bag and a suitcase. And I walked into the jungle, folks. I had in the golf bag a pop-up umbrella and a folding chair and a tent and some survival chow and some survival tools. And I built my way out of the jungle, had it cleared, brought in a tractor. I know I cheated a bit, but I was living with some fallen trees in the jungle. It was a fucking weird thing, man. It was crazy. Literally surviving with fucking frogs and lizards and fucking mongooses and some weird shit that I don't know what it was making noise at night. Gunshots going off. I'm serious. Gunshots going off every fucking night in the jungle. I don't know who it was. It was incredible. I really had one hell of a time. And the fucking chickens. Oh, Jolene, thank you for that. The chickens. This fucking rooster. This rooster, I swear, stood 3 feet tall. It was one of the biggest fucking rooster chickens I ever saw. And I battled this rooster. A lot kind of like Peter Griffith fights the rooster, man. He would wake me up all night long, and I'd go after him. He was out there. I think the rooster was trying to kill me. There were hens also and little baby chickens all over the jungle. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Eventually the cargo container showed up. It had my tools, and then my truck showed up, so I had some transportation. But there's like one lumber company within 50 miles. That was it. One lumber company. Well, 50 miles as the crow flies. The roads windy as fuck. Anyways, they delivered a bunch of lumber, and I said, I need some lumber. They said, well, this is what you get. I was like, okay, then I'll just make some shit up here. And I built a big deck, get me up off the ground and out of the jungle floor. And I built a frame. I put the yurt on it. Then I built a frame and built a yurt in the jungle. And got a solar power dude to come and put some solar panels there. And got some golf cart batteries, probably stolen from across the other side of the jungle. No, he didn't. He was a good guy. Good guy. And I just felt the calling. We got to fall of 2020, and it was time to come back to America for the election, for the fight that's coming. And here we are 3 years later, a little better than 3 years now. The fight is on for our country, for our nation, for our lives, for freedom, for what America is, the American dream. We're going to have to fight for it now, folks. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to vote for it. We're going to have to fight for it. All right, Jolene, let's do another super chat. What do we got? Who's here? What's up? Bioxo. with a $4.99 super chat donation. This time he says, been hearing some retaliation strikes going on in the Middle East. You haven't mentioned anything tonight. Well, fuck, man. I haven't had a chance. You guys have been running this show. I mean, I've slipped in some of my stuff to kind of support your guys' stuff. But yeah, retaliation strikes going on in the Middle East. Joe Biden has decided he's going to start bombing the shit out of some people up in the Syria and the Jordan area. But he gave them lots of notice. He made sure to tell them he was coming so they could clear out and they could bomb nothing. They were making offers to Iran. Hey, give us some targets we can bomb so we can save face. In other words, Joe Biden was telling him, look, we really don't want to kill you. No, we don't want to kill you. We just want to look good for the election season. You know, the Iranians have said, look, you made a mistake. You're going to fucking pay for it. Since when did the Iranians threaten America? Especially since Joe Biden gave them billions and billions of dollars. It's also my understanding that the Iranians have enriched uranium to the point that it is now weapons grade. That is sickening. It is frighteningly disgusting. I would rather be in the RMZ, sitting in a reclining chair that I brought from California, enjoying the warm, balmy days, sipping pina coladas, rum drinks, gathering bananas out of the jungle, mangoes. I also had I had papaya and avocados. One of my avocados was Wilson. That's right. Had Wilson there in the jungle with me. It would be nice just to sit there. Folks, in the RMZ, I had, believe it or not, such good internet connection, wireless, that I could live broadcast from the fucking jungle. I did not expect that. I thought I was going to have to hike out of the jungle every day to do a broadcast. Well, talking about convenient. Holy shit. Yeah, one night it rained 18 fucking inches of water. That's how much it rained there. But very comfortable. I could live there very comfortably. The jungle, like I said, it was alive with gunfire at night. I think that kept the government at bay. I'm not shitting you. Every fucking night, guns going off. Why and who, I don't know. Anyways, the Middle East is a mess, Biak, so look out. Thank you very much for the great support, man. The topic, we're going to find out how far that's going to expand this week. We'll find out if there's retaliation from Hezbollah, from the Houthis. We're going to find out if Iran, the theocratic leadership in Tehran, Iran, if they want to shoot their fucking lips off and go a little further with us. We're going to find out. Let's do it. Jolene, next. Who is it? What is it? Where is it? What is up? And it's Boomer21 back with another $10 super chat donation. He says, hey, those of likes of Brandon and Obumbum, the likes of Brandon, meaning Joe Biden, and Obumbum, meaning Obama, obtain financial gain from being a POTUS, a president of the United States. Trump, on the other hand, gets financial loss. Oh, yeah, Obama, who the fuck was he? Let's see. He was a sack of shit raised by Marxist socialists around the world. There's no evidence he was actually born in this country. He claims to have gone to school at Columbia University, though there's no transcripts and no one remembers him. And after college, he went to work, if you want to call it work, as a community organizer, essentially an activist. He didn't have a job as a lawyer, though he's supposed to be a lawyer, but he's a handsome, clean, articulate guy. I think Joe Biden's the one that said he's clean and articulate. Well, he ran for Congress and got elected. So then he ran for the Senate in Chicago, or Illinois rather, but meaning Chicago, and he got elected. And he was a clean, articulate guy, even though in college he snorted a shit pile of cocaine. And he smoked. And he smoked as president. Smoked those dirty old cigarettes. And I'm sure he smoked Michelle as well. And you know what Peter Puffer I'm talking about there. So then he got to be president. And he has gotten richer and richer and richer and richer and richer. You bet. These public officials feather their nests with the wealth of America. And what have they done for us? They have fucked us over and tried destroying this country. That's what we've got from it. Joe Biden has spent his whole life as a grifter, as a shakedown man, getting his 10%. Spend his whole life doing that, folks. Unfucking believable. Thank you, Boomer, for bringing that up. Yep. Oh, yeah. And Trump gets financial loss. He didn't accept a paycheck for being president. He wanted to serve the country. And so they're suing the living shit out of him. They're attacking him. They're trying to sue him in court, civilly, criminally, all over the country. They're using the law in a form of warfare against him and us. That's how they roll, folks. That's what the Democrats do. They cannot have anyone else trying to stop their sick, filthy plans. And you and I are now in the way, and people are waking up, and that's your job, to fill your head with all the knowledge you can, to get prepared, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, to keep fighting back. You bet. Let's do it, Jolene. Who's up next as we get close to the end of the show? We got Jezariah. All right, with a 556 super chat donation. He says, your thoughts on the farmer protest across Europe, and when are the same things coming to the U.S.? Control the food, control the population. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Well, let's start with Europe, and then we'll come back home, Jezariah. In Europe, in France and the Netherlands especially, they've also done it in Germany and other states or nations, if you will. The farmers are bringing stacks of hay. They're taking their tractors and driving them into the cities, Paris, Amsterdam, Brussels, The Hague, right? Blocking the streets. I loved it when the Dutch were taking manure spreaders and slinging shit all over the government buildings. I thought that was fucking brilliant. They're also setting fire to hay bales. I love it. Enjoy it. Fuck them. You know what the government's trying to do over there? Trying to shut down farming. What are the people going to eat? Oh, yeah, bugs. What are they going to feed the bugs? See, bugs are pestilence. Bugs are pests. Pestilence is not just disease. It is pests, rodents, insects, as well as disease. And they are riding roughshod across the world, pestilence to destroy. You know what they want to do? They want to, well, in California, they're now taking sewage and treating it, and then claiming that treated sewage water is now safe for human consumption. And they're putting it back in the pipes and pumping it into people's homes. In many jurisdictions in California, that is coming. I would tell them no fucking way, Jezariah. But they're doing it. Another form of pestilence. Oops, we didn't put enough chlorine in the water. Sorry about that, everyone who now has hepatitis A, B, C, D, E, F, G, dysentery, cholera, Giardia, no problem. E. coli, have a sip of that. I sure hope you have a water purifying system. I'd be using that shit if I were you. You can get them at the preparedmind.club. All right. So, yeah, the farmers, they're like, well, fuck you. What are you going to eat? These people are retarded. You know what they're going to do? They're going to take sewage. They're going to feed it to bugs and turn around and feed those bugs to the people. You'll eat the bugs and you'll like it. You'll be happy with nothing. Now, as far as the U.S., when are the same things coming here? Well, when it comes to protests in the U.S., it's happening, Jezariah. Down on the southern borders, even in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, the truckers are coming. I'm sure they are bringing supplies. They're certainly bringing their fucking attitudes to let the good guys know that they support them. They're also letting the bad guys know, we see who the fuck you are. We see who you are. Folks, get this. We're about to wrap up the show. I want to tell you about the people in charge, how fucking stupid they are, how ridiculous they are, how scared they are. Kamala Harris, old dirty knees herself, the vice president of this country, apparently watched conservative news and it upset her. Apparently it's shaken her to the core. Quote, it got in her head and caused high anxiety. Kamala, Biden, Hillary, all the Democrats are snowflakes. They are weak-minded idiots. And they're not in charge, by the way. Came out over the weekend. Biden's not really in charge. He's too stupid to know it. He's too gone. But there was a quote. It's actually a paraphrase from Aristotle, a great philosopher. And the paraphrase works better because it kind of fits the modern American vernacular. And I'm going to read it, and I'll let you think about it. It is the mark of an uneducated, Chalk that, stop, let's do it again. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. In other words, if you are an uneducated person, you cannot hear a thought without it really affecting you negatively. You see, if Kamala was intelligent, she could hear conservative thoughts. She could entertain it, think about it, and wouldn't have to accept it. But as it is, they are very, folks, and rather than saying educated, we could substitute the word intelligent. It is the mark of an educated mind that can entertain the thoughts of others without being affected negatively by it, without accepting it. So you and I hear all this left-wing dribble, all this left-wing shit, all this socialist, communist, anti-American crap, all this unconstitutional drivel coming out of the Supreme Court, other courts, state courts, these fucked up district attorneys, mayors, governors, etc. And we can think about what it is they're saying without doing what Kamala did, which is having high anxiety. You and I function. We go to work, we pay our taxes. We come here and talk about what they're doing and intellectually think about it and consider it and understand that what they're doing is destroying the country. That we don't have to accept that. We don't have to believe their lies. We don't have to carry their water, accept their bullshit. What we do need to understand is they're very serious. And so we also need to galvanize, vulcanize ourselves and our positions. We need to reinforce our intellectual understanding of the need for a constitution, a free republic, and understand it is not free and it cannot be kept perpetually, in perpetuity, without a price being paid. We are now at that point. These people hear what we're saying, they lose their shit. We hear what they're saying, we're like, make sure everything's clean and shiny and oiled up. Make sure you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Because they're out there, they're so stupid, they don't realize what they're doing. or they do realize what they're doing and they're doing it anyways, which makes them evil bastards, aka traitors. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. It's been a great show. Thank you for coming. Remember, please subscribe. You can still share the internet address. Keep sharing it. Get people to wake the hell up and get prepared. Because it is on, folks. It is on. This has been Sunday Night Live. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America.